Where's that microphone at? Okay. What's up from UK? What's happening, Supra? Supra 9, what's good with you? Exactly. Viruses and bacteria are not harmful. George Washington, appreciate you. I got 16 people in here already. All right, that's cool. All right, folks. Hey Tammy, how you doing? How you doing? Um, it's a nice day out here in the Pacific Northwest. Uh, on these days, I like to park somewhere from time to time while the sun's out and chat with you a little bit. It's kind of my thing. Love me right. What's up with you? King Lucid, what's up, man? Okay. So, what we got going on in the world these days is all about, I don't even really want to say it. You know what it's about. You know what's going on. This worldwide situation that we're all facing at the moment with someone eating some bat soup somewhere. Apparently, that at least that's the official story. What's up, Ted? All right, and everybody's talking about what's coming on the heels of this, as far as the implementation of a cashless society, because one of those one of those things that's being pushed, and I actually experienced this earlier, is the idea that the virus can be spread through cash. Because I could have swore I heard somebody saying that the coronavirus can survive for 10 days on cash. I'm like, for 10 days? Son, 10 days? It's nonsense. It's nonsense. Um, as they do, these things are multifaceted. They say never let a good crisis go to waste. So they're gonna use everything that they got, push everything that they got onto this. They can push the aspect of martial law. They've already got lockdowns for the most part. We're moving in the direction of a cashless society because they're saying that um, the virus can last 10 days on cash. So I was at a spot trying to make a purchase today. I tried to hand the lady a 20, and she's like, no, do you have a card? She's got her mask on, she's got her gloves on. She's like, no, can you give me a card? I'm like, huh. And she forced me in that moment to go cashless. Isn't that something? That's all it took. um but that's another one of those agendas. I mean, and there's also people taking video of folks on the roads, setting up the 5G towers in different areas, all kinds of areas. I've seen people from the UK, lady in London caught some guys. I mean, just multiple locations. People were out here filming these guys out here putting up these 5G towers. We're in a lockdown situation. Now think about this. We're in a lockdown situation wherein only essential personnel are allowed to roam about on the plane. Essential, Schools are shut down while all this is going on. So what you're telling me, what they're telling us, and I mean, we've all heard the phrase that action speaks louder than words. Hey, Tammy. We've all heard the phrase action speaks louder than words, and their words are telling us that only essential taskings are taking place, like the post office, things like that, different food service industries. The schools are shut down, so a lot of parents are getting some of that homeschooling life, spending time with the kids. VW in the house, Vegan Warrior. What's up, good? What's up, bro? What's good? So we're told that only essential personnel are free to roam about. Schools are shut down, and yet these guys setting up the 5G, they're out here too. They're out here too. So what they're saying with their action is that it's more important to set up 5G than for the children to be educated. Now, the educational system, um, that was set up, that's to create more of the same, more like factory workers. It was to support the industrial boom, um, of the mid 19th century, or 20th century, that is, the 1900s. That whole industrial revolution. That's what the school system was set up for. People smart enough to, you know, run the numbers and go from here to there, um, and get out of school and go work for somebody else. That's what the educational system was set up for. It wasn't to set people free independently. It wasn't to incorporate independent thought. It wasn't to teach people life skills. It wasn't to teach people interpersonal skills, um, you know, or how to manage their money. There's so much stuff that the school system left out, but they put that out there to educate and indoctrinate us into this society. And yet, even though that's been part of the agenda and it's played out very well for them, because there's so many people who are dependent on the smart people to tell them how to think, it's worked out that well. At the same time, they prioritize installation of 5G over that. They're prioritizing the installation of 5G over the education of, or the indoctrination of the next generation. Rhyming out here because I got bars like that. But anyway, I veered way off. I'm supposed to be talking about social distancing. So if you happen to not live under a rock, and if you're here, I'm pretty sure you've already heard about this thing. Social distancing is being enforced in these different areas. The whole idea of people remaining 6 feet apart. Me personally, and this is just me because I'm Southern like that. Being, growing up in Arkansas, it's not a whole lot of people out there anyway. So, being in lines and all that, in me, I'm all about respecting people's personal space anyway. I don't like people being too close to me. You know what I'm saying? Within that 6 feet, if I don't know you, for the most part, I'll keep you good over there. But sometimes you'll see people in line trying to check out, and somebody's like, a couple feet behind you or something like that, just all up in your personal space, right? And me, I keep like 6 feet between me and the person in front of me anyway. But whoever's behind me, they're like creeping up behind me. I get irritated. So I'm okay with the idea of people keeping a little space between them. I'm all right with that whole personal bubble. But the idea that it's being enforced, is being pushed upon us, that's the weird thing to me. That's something that I really don't. I'm not feeling that. I mean, in the Constitution, don't we have like what's that? Right to assemble? Isn't that in there somewhere? We have a right to assemble. Like, isn't that kind of a violation of our rights to tell us that we need to stay at home? We need to stay at home. We can't gather in large groups. We don't have the right to assemble anymore, and that's another aspect of that. This whole agenda. They're keeping us apart. They're keeping us from being able to gather together in these groups and go outside while we're all inside our homes. And these guys are putting up these 5G towers. We can't call for a protest. Okay, we're going to go to the park, we're going to meet up here, and we're going to go over there because they're installing 5G over there. We can't do that right now without the police coming and breaking it up. And I said this months ago when when this whole thing was starting off. I was back at Pop's house when I recorded that, and I was saying that a while ago. I was like, isn't it odd that there were all these protests going on in China, All right, while they were out, protesting against their corrupt government. But then all of a sudden, there's this virus. There's quarantine. There's lockdown. That got the people off the streets really quick. And there were, oh, see how they cut me off right there. As soon as I start mentioning some things, all of a sudden my phone cuts off, man. Did y'all see that? Did you see that? You were live, so you would have had to catch that one real quick. As soon as I started saying something about these protests, the screen went white, pinged it, dropped me off. I had to resume the stream. You saw that, right? As soon as I started going there talking about how they want to keep us separated, how they don't want us to protest, things like that, then they cut us off. Put a 1 in the chat if you saw the censorship real time. Let me see a 1 in the chat if you saw that. Because, man, that was crazy. That was crazy how that happened. That's the police state for you. That's the police state for you, folks. They're out here watching us, man. And this is it's all wrong. All 1s in the chat. Y'all saw what happened, man. As soon as I start talking about these protests, getting on that real stuff, they cut it off. And that's what they don't want. And they especially don't want that in large groups. They don't want that face to face. They don't want us to have any personal contact. That's another part of that whole social distancing thing. I mean, it is written, when 2 or more come together, the presence of God is there with them, paraphrasing. But that's another one of those things, it's like there's a certain energy that people can create from being in a group and being of the same mindset. I've seen it happen time and time again. No, growing up in church, I remember growing up in church, man. There would be points where they would get into the period of praise and worship, and there would come a part of the service every now and then where I'm saying they just did one of those praise and worship songs. Everybody's feeling it. The band's going off. They're in the cut. Real in the pocket. But all of a sudden, it's like you can just stop in the middle and you can feel the energy in the air. And that used to happen all the time at the church, and people call that the Holy Ghost, the presence of God, the Holy Spirit, whatever you want to call it. When people get together of the same mindset, something happens that they do not want us to tap into. And I would even venture to imagine that during these times, the evil people who are in charge of, who are running this place, this realm, I'd imagine that they're doing some stuff to amp up their dark energy with the absence of people coming together. Like, if you think about this, everybody that got into the construction, the great mud floods, Tartaria, and all that stuff. One of those things that came off of this was the idea of the like pyramids, these points in the buildings, these points. Like at a church, there's always like a steeple. There's always a point where, and what happens, the way that it was explained for the most part, is that when that energy is collected on the inside of the building, it's channeled upward through that point, whether it's that steeple or that arch, or not arch, I don't know. It's always some point in the church or cathedral or something. There's always these points. You know what I mean? And that positive energy, whether it was done on a Sunday or Saturday, let's not get into that. That positive energy has been absent from the world for the most part because they've shut down gatherings at church. And the pastors that have violated that social distancing policy and they've gone on with their church services, I mean, after church is over, they get arrested. You know, they'll finish up service and then they'll step outside and the police are waiting for them, take them to jail real quick for violating on purpose because they don't want us to gather. Now I don't know exactly what's going on. I mean, this is just a thought exercise. I'm just thinking out loud, but I don't think I'm too far off. I don't think I'm too far off. They want us to be separate because they don't want us to combine energies positively the way that we normally would. And now, while they're able to operate in the absence of our bringing that positive energy together and sending that into the ethers, then they're able to act while we don't have that positivity going there. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? But it's odd. It's odd. But about this social distancing thing is being forced upon us and enforced by these people. I'm watching a press conference, like at some point, like the last couple of weeks, I'm watching a press conference. These guys are talking about how people need to stay home, they need to stay separated, keep 6 feet between them. And the guy at the podium, he's got people like within shoulder, elbow reach. He could bend over, turn around and like elbow the people on each side, and all of them are like standing shoulder to shoulder. So by their actions, again, actions speak louder than words, they're showing us that the rules don't apply to them. The rules are for you. The rules aren't for the ruling class. No, we're the rulers. We don't have to follow the rules. They don't have to. They don't have to go by what they're telling us to do. They get to just force that upon us. And if we don't respect those distances while we're out in public, they're encouraging our neighbors to snitch on us for one. And that's stupid. And people are going to do it. People are going to do it. People are going to freaking do it because you can see the propaganda. Okay. Let me try to get back to that one in a little bit. So yeah, they're wanting us to like tell on each other for not doing that, and then they're arresting people for not respecting that. They're arresting pastors for holding church services, violating their social distancing policies and all of that. And it's just, I don't know, it's taking something away from us as people. It's taking something away from us. It's causing a ripple effect. It's causing things to be a little bit different. Me, I think this is all bullcrap. Personally, I think my immune system fights things off very well. I really don't get sick a whole lot. In all actuality, there was a lingering cold situation that I had like late October, early November, something like that. I probably had coronavirus back then, and it held on for a while. There was points where I was sitting here just all day. I had a cough, like a dry cough, and I had flu-like symptoms for a couple of weeks, but I got over it. Didn't go see a doctor, didn't quarantine myself, nothing like that. But I may have very well had the thing already, but I'm okay. I don't claim that. We're done with that. So what I do, I'm out doing my thing, and I'm seeing people while I'm out, picking up things to eat, running errands and all that, and I'm seeing everybody, not everybody, a lot of people, and there's a disturbing amount of people wearing these masks, people wearing their latex gloves at Walmart and things. And me, I trust my immune system, so I'm not out here doing all that. I see them and I'm shaking my head, I'm rolling my eyes, I'm like, dude, I need to get back to my spot and chill. Get away from these silly people because I'm socially distant anyway. I was socially distant before it was fashionable. So these people are on my nerves a little bit, but one thing that they do is creating kind of a caste system. It's creating this mental boundary between us where there are people who are taking this real serious because they're all up in the news. They're watching MSNBC. They're watching CNN. All the major news cycles and all of that. And this is like the worst thing ever to them. And they're like super just freaked out about it because they've been absorbing all the mainstream propaganda to freak people out. And that's what this is mostly about. So these folks are all about that. So what they're doing, they'll look at people like myself who's not wearing that stuff, and they're kind of like, I mean, like clutching their purse, walk by the door, lock the door and all that when you walk by, kind of see you and eyes bug out like, oh my God. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? They're out here shunning people, acting like you're unclean, acting like they're more dialed in, almost like they're better than you because you're not taking this seriously. Fear weakens the immune system. Fear weakens the immune system. That's one of those things that they probably don't know. We know that. We know that fear weakens the immune system. So, we're trying to walk around without being pulled into that. We're kind of feeling like we're living inside a movie, just watching this whole thing pop off, because we're not really bought into it, but we're still sitting here watching the whole thing unfold. It's kind of silly what's going on right now. But bottom line, they do not want us to unite. They need us to be divided. They need it. They need us to be separated. They need us to be socially distant right now, because the stuff that they're doing, rushing to put up this 5G, rushing to put up that 5G, they know it's wrong. They know it's wrong. The guys putting it up, they know it's wrong. The people who are going to crack down on folks trying to destroy these towers. Allegedly, there are some people out there who are planning and executing the destruction of 5G towers, and the people that are going to be out looking to hold those accountable who would do that, destroy those 5G towers, they're going to do it, and they're going to know that they're wrong, because we're in a system where everybody's got to get paid. And that's one of those sad things that we come to understand. People are going to do terrible things to each other in the name of, I was just doing my job. That's a little disheartening. But we'll figure this out some way or another. One thing that I realized the other day, and I've done a lot of thinking about this, is just that stuff's just not going to go back to being the same. Stuff's just not going to go back to the way that it was a while ago, because it's just, it's like after 9/11. There's society pre 9/11, there's post 9/11. What we're looking at right here is society pre COVID-19 and after COVID-19. So we just gotta do what we can to keep ourselves centered. Yeah, this is worse than 9/11. Oh, I know. Oh, I know, Karen B. Oh, this is definitely worse than 9/11. Absolutely. This is a worldwide thing, and we're seeing some fast-moving worldwide situations. Yeah, the new normal. I'm not digging it. I'm not digging it. Wondering what things are going to be after this, but on the bright side, people are getting more time to spend with family. That's a good thing. People are getting more time to focus on things external to their job, their side hustles and all that. You know, people are starting to figure that out. Um, Not sure how much it's going to benefit overall, but we'll see what happens. You know, time will tell. We'll see what happens, folks. Um, just sharing some thoughts, thinking out loud. I don't like to make these things too long, but yeah, I'm gonna go on and get about my evening. Let you get on with your evening. Hope you all have a great one. Uh, Appreciate you all for coming through, hanging out with me, sharing your thoughts in the chat. Appreciate you all in the chat. Um, Take care of yourself, folks. Hug the ones close to you, and believe in yourself to receive, send out positive vibes. Yeah, that's all I got. That's all I got, folks. As always, be good to each other. Take care of yourself. Stay flat. Because the earth is still flat out here, while the World Health Organization is out here telling everybody about a global pandemic while using a flat earth map as their logo. Anyway, like I said, be good to each other. Take care of yourself. Stay flat. I'll see y'all next time. Thank you.